Hello and welcome to the Parks Green Growth Podcast, as we call it. It's a new initiative.
Very nice.
And very happy to be with one of my oldest friends in the industry since I came back to India in 2013 to start this, Mr. Arjun Gadre. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Also being the first one on this initiative.
Oh, very nice.
Parks. What we are trying to do is we are trying to meet with visionary leaders who have established a good balance between meeting environmental sustainability objectives as well as business growth. And you were, I think, the first one to adopt our Parks technology when we came to India. So who better than you to inaugurate this initiative?
Thank you very much.
So this has been an initiative that's thought of for the first time in India, though it's, globally I hope this is adopted. And since we met last time, as you know, Parks is now also a 100% owned company of Ski On Water. Ski On Water acquired us post-COVID. Okay. Ski On Water is the personal family fund of Susan Clatton. SK stands for Susan Clatton.
Okay.
She is one of the largest shareholders in BMW.
All right.
And so we are very, very happy to be a part of a very large group now, but we are doing the same things. Since we met last time, I think we have close to about 150 references in India.
Fantastic.
We just signed a major order for a sugar company in Kenya, so we are also
exporting.
Expanding.
Yeah, very nice.
So very good. When we started, we just had a sales office. Today we have factories. We acquired a factory in Hyderabad. So a lot of things have happened with Parks, and we are.
So Parks is well and truly on the Make in India program.
And India is really the base from which Middle East, Africa, all these initiatives are good. So tell me about yourself. What have I missed since last time I met you?
Well, to be honest, since you've come, Park has always been part of our growth story. I think we've we've installed 2 new plants since in the last 10 years.
Okay.
The first one being in Bangalore, where we have 2 of your UASBs, which are working wonderfully fine, and then very much more recently in Orissa, where we adopted one of your newer technologies, AFR,
right,
and that has been really fantastic. I mean,
that's actually a new launch for Parks even globally. I think you're just one of 2 clients or 3 clients in the world who has AFR.
Yeah, because there were certain teething problems or certain technical issues which the old technology was not able to handle. I think it's credit to your engineers when we were looking at the latest installation and when we did come across and had a detailed discussion as to what needs to change, what needs to improve. I think that's when they came up with the AFR proposal.
It was originally tried for ice creams.
I see.
In Ben & Jerry's, you have a lot of background in UK, so you probably
I know Ben & Jerry's. Yes.
So that is where AFR was first tried out.
I see.
And from there to the marine industry was something which I credit my Indian colleagues to.
Absolutely. So and it's been functioning really, really well. I think, like I said, kudos to your engineering team. I think whatever problems not problems, but feedback that we had given in terms of performance of the older technology, I think almost every single thing has been addressed, and probably efficiencies are even better than what they were before.
I'm sure my colleagues in Chennai will be very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
As also the development team in Netherlands, which developed this AFR in collaboration with this Ben & Jerry site. But now we are able to take it to other industries. It's
it's fantastic. I think it typically where there is, for my limited technical knowledge, wherever the high fat content traditionally creates a lot of issues to UASB technology, I think the AFR really does take care of all those outstanding issues. So
incidentally, this year we will be launching AFR in a real big way.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So at all the exhibitions when you travel to Europe, do watch out for
sure.
Parks and AFR.
For sure.
We probably be part of the Ski On umbrella, but you will not miss Parks.
No, for sure. I mean, even on my side, I do try and promote Parks as a go-to engineering company for effluent treatment, especially water, because a lot of people do ask how we treat our water, and I hope that you keep getting further references in the future for your own growth.
So that is a post our Skion acquisition, we are positioning PAQUES as a solution provider for industrial wastewater challenges. Traditionally, as you know, PAQUES was a niche anaerobic technologies company, USBs, ICs, but Skion is close to 1.5 billion euros of portfolio companies. So we have various technologies available to us across the various parts of the spectrum.
Nice.
Because as you know, wastewater is very complex. Industrial wastewater is even more complex. So we in at least this region, thanks to the support of repeat clients like yourself, we are positioning ourselves as a solution provider. So in addition to anaerobic, we take care of the entire biological treatment. We also do the membrane part of it in a lot of projects. We are doing UV disinfection also in the ethanol industry. That's been one big growth driver for us. So what's the perspective I get from you on your industry, marine industry? Because other than you, we haven't had any major successes in this area.
There is the marine industry in a way is traditionally been a low technology adoption industry. If you see the typical type of plants, I mean the traditional almost 80-90% of the seafood industry is predominantly into receiving fresh catch, cleaning, packing and freezing. So freezing equipment is the only technology that they use. So generally speaking, with adoption of newer technologies like PAQUES or for any environmental processing equipment, you need a little bit more qualified personnel, and that probably is something that the industry sort of lacks. Coupled by, of course, the pollution control norms are the same for everybody. A lot of the seafood industry is established in areas where there are common effluent treatment plants. And therefore individuals don't have a huge amount of responsibility, individual units don't have a huge amount of responsibility of treating their own wastewater to comply with the CPCB norms.
Right.
They generally do a preliminary treatment and then release it to the common effluent treatment plant, which takes bulk of the load. And that's probably why there has not been a large focus on individual companies implementing effluent treatment equipment in their own premises. Our case was a little bit different. I mean, we come from a small town in Ratnagiri. There is no industrial parks, so to speak, unlike in Taloja or somewhere in Cochin or where the state infrastructure provides for a common effluent treatment plant.
Right.
So we had to kind of do everything ourselves to comply. And in doing so, over a period of time, we've always had the attitude that we don't want to try and not be compliant with the local laws. So we try to use the best technology possible in order to achieve that. And that's how our journey with PAQUES. It has not come without pain. We've obviously used some other...
Yes, we learnt a lot out of each other.
Yes. And even before we came to PAQUES, we had tried with another USB which didn't work. We had a lot of backlash because of that, and then we went on to scouting around to find who were actually the masters of the anaerobic treatment. And luckily almost at the same time, PAQUES also had started your existence in India again.
I mean, that was our second innings.
Yeah. And so it coincided with our requirement, and that's how this journey started.
Yes. I had the pleasure today of saying hello to your father, and he was remembering the old times.
Yeah. So I think the PAQUES, the first one that we bought from you was in Chorwad in 2014, 2015. So I think
was the first one.
Yeah, and it's still doing well. In fact, we started with one, and over a period of time we added another one because our capacity enhancement and so forth. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. Even in Chorwad, it's in a small village. We are the only factory there. So everything that comes in and everything that goes out is completely our responsibility. and like
It's very close to Somnath, isn't it?
it is close to, it's a little about 30-40 kilometers north of Somnath. Yeah.
So I was having, your colleagues were treating me to a wonderful lunch with all your products.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. But what is the overall perspective on the, I heard that almost 50-60% of your revenue now comes from exports?
No, a lot more in fact. See, we export almost about 97 to 98% of our production.
So it's almost like fully exports?
Yeah. Indian market.
What is India's strategic advantage in this sector, or is it growing, or you see competition from other countries? Or
No, sir.
Because I'm more interested in knowing about your industry as well, you know.
Yeah, no, so I will see India, as we all know, is a largely vegetarian country.
Absolutely.
Less than 50% or about 50% people are non-vegetarian. In non-vegetarian, a huge chunk are basically only chicken eaters.
Yeah.
Then you take the chicken eaters out, northern India, middle India, everything away from the coast. Seafood is traditionally eaten by people on the coast.
Right.
So we have therefore now a situation where a very small percentage of the regular basket in India consists of seafood as a regular,
as a staple diet. Correct.
So therefore the available market for us is quite limited.
Within India.
On one hand. On the other hand, there is also a challenge of good quality retail stores. We don't really have very large format organized retail, modern retail, which has a distribution center and a hub and spoke model where they do their replenishing themselves. We still are reliant a lot on individual mom and pop stores, where the onus of distribution comes on to the company or the brand themselves. So in a way, the efficiencies of scale and therefore providing a good quality product at a reasonable price to the consumer becomes a challenge. And the biggest challenge is freezer space, because we are all frozen foods. In order to freezing effectively is the preservative. So the quality of product is best kept when it is at -18. But you don't have enough freezer space in India to kind of have a wide distribution. So if you compare, for example, in Mumbai, you may have over 6,000 to 7,000 stores of different formats, but there are only about 200 to 300 stores which can have freezers.
So the shelf space becomes a challenge.
Is very, very big challenge. But on the other hand, we have a lot of growth in the HoReCa sector. Restaurants, hotels, restaurants and catering, they now require more convenience food to reduce their prep time and reduce the amount of skilled labor that they have.
Correct.
Portion control also is a big challenge for them, because somebody has to buy, if somebody is reliant on buying whole fish, cutting, cleaning, portioning it, keeping it.
Yeah. Wastage becomes
wastage.
more,
so all that becomes a difficulty. So we are seeing a lot of growth in India in the HoReCa sector, much more than the retail. But in the end, retail is going to be a long-term strategy for us.
But it's still less than 10% of...
lot less than 10%.
Yeah.
It's nothing as compared to what modern retail anywhere else in the world is. So
Are you there in the Middle East as well?
we are there a little bit in the Middle East.
We have an office now in Dubai.
I see.
So next time we go there, I'm going to
Yeah,
search
so we
for it
sell
in the
to
stores.
a couple of brands, including Lulu,
Okay.
in the Middle East. We sell to Lulu in India also. But our biggest market now so we have two different segments in our business. One is the surimi manufacturing, which is buying fish and converting it to fish protein isolate.
Right.
And then here in Ratnagiri, we bring the fish protein isolate and convert it into ready-to-eat seafood. Predominantly is the surimi crab stick, which is the fish paste textured and flavored like crab. And it is over a period of time, it has become its own category. across the world.
By the way, I saw that snow crab on TikTok that was
That's
gone
correct.
viral.
That's
apparently.
correct. That's
It's
correct.
one of the most popular.
Yes, it is thankfully in 2025, 2024, sorry, it was the largest selling single SKU of surimi in America. So
That's fantastic.
that has been a good success for us. But for example, in India, there is still a dichotomy of whether it is real or whether it is not real. That those questions are almost
So
all
do I
answered.
see a tinge of regret in your voice that you're not selling enough in India?
Absolutely. The whole world wants to come to India to sell in India, and we are not able to crack the market to the scale that we would like to. But I know this for sure that there will be a time when Indian retail, Indian consumer, and the Indian market per se will become the mainstay for our company. And
You anticipate that in the medium term,
in the longish term.
long term.
Because certain fundamental changes need to happen. Indian retail is going through a lot of change right now, going from mom and pop stores. Then there was a phase when a lot of big business houses tried to start retail stores. Some of them are still continuing, some of them have dropped off.
Yeah.
But now there is a phase of quick commerce where consumers demand, at least in the metros, that food should come to them delivered within 15 to 20 minutes. Yes. And that's a unique feature anywhere in the world, to be able to get anything and everything that you want in your kitchen to be delivered within
Instant gratification.
instant gratification, and it is kind of replacing the convenience store concept elsewhere.
Yeah.
So you will have your monthly shopping, weekly shopping, and daily top-ups that you need, and all those are coming through quick commerce. So even we have to now adopt our distribution and marketing strategy to kind of reflect the changes that are happening in the market. But it's still going to take some time before the dust settles and we know which way the Indian market is going to go.
But the current capacity that you have with all your 4 or 5 plants in India, are they enough to meet global
we are expanding.
Are you going outside India for any acquisitions?
No, we are not going to go outside India. I think India provides us with everything that we need in order to be absolutely competitive anywhere in the world. And so to give up that fundamental advantage will make no sense. I think the world is also moving towards a lot of rationalization of import duties and free trade agreements, and with all the geopolitics that is going on, there's more impetus now on, let's say, for example, UK and EU trying to get free trade agreements with India. I hope that Japan also does that. America already currently is without any import duties. So wherever there is no import duty hurdle, we are very, very competitive. And our target is to, because we are coming from a cost competitive manufacturing base, doesn't mean we want to sell cheap products. The products that we make and sell are the top of the range in those markets, and that's where the real value realization happens to the customer, that they get to experience and enjoy a very high quality product, but don't necessarily have to pay exorbitant prices, and that's where the growth of the business is from.
Right. So your sustainability initiatives in water, wastewater treatment is really world class.
Yeah.
What are the other areas in which you focus on to meet those objectives?
I think world over, and the social SAG goals that the UN and therefore every country has adopted, I think we individually also have to play equal part in it. I think we have the whole.
Is it a big part of your the whole revenue chain, because so much of your business goes to export? Do your clients there demand you to invest in these kind of initiatives?
No. Right now, this is all mostly suo moto. We do it because we want to make sure that we are able to accumulate all the credentials that require us to be fundamentally a responsible company when we are dealing with all aspects of our business, including environment. So far there has been no supermarket or no customer who's given us targets to meet. But we have been on a long journey of trying to decarbonize our manufacturing as much as possible.
No, that's really visionary considering that you started it way before these became
way before. Credit goes to my father.
Yeah.
Almost about 15 years back, we started the first mini hydroelectric power plant about 60-70 kilometers south of here.
Okay.
On a small dam. We have a 1.5 megawatt turbine, and we generate almost about 75 to 80 lakh units from that one thing. Then we have investments in windmill. All these are now acting as captive consumption. So we have windmills, we have rooftop solar, we are commissioning one new hydroelectric this year, and we'll be putting one more under construction in next year. So our target is to, over a period of next 3 to 4 years, to completely have 100% of the electricity that we use to be generated through renewable means.
100%?
100%.
Wow.
But it is not that everything we use comes from renewable. It is the net metering kind of a concept where we draw electricity out of the electrical distribution company, and we feed equivalent amount of units through renewable sources into their grid. So that's one part. The other part is we use a lot of heat recovery system. We use a lot of steam for cooking, but a lot of steam, when we generate high pressure steam. So we have one steam turbine which works also as a PRV, a pressure reducing valve. So that loss of energy is converted into electricity which gets fed into the system. And most of the comfort air conditioning that we use here is completely on vapor absorption system.
Okay, the one like Thermax used to do.
Thermax, and so a couple of other people have supplied to us,
Right.
including Thermax. So we use again high pressure steam, use that as a pressure reducing valve, use the excess heat for comfort air conditioning. So we are trying to, and including your own, the methane that is generated from your USB and other things are then fed into our
Are you using our
boilers.
thiopacks for desulfurization? Are you using the PAQUES technology for desulfurization?
No, we don't generate a lot of sulfur.
H2S is not, okay.
No, in our
You are able to use the gas directly?
gas directly. I mean, there is a little bit of water vapor, but I don't think that. But it does. I don't have a number of my hand, but I think altogether we save about a few tons a day worth of coal.
So whatever gas is generated from this anaerobic process, you don't flare it off?
No, we don't flare it. We use it completely in our boiler for steam generation.
Because as you know, one of the biggest growth areas for parks in India has been potato chip manufacturing. There we don't see the same level of adoption of using the biogas. They all have anaerobic because the water that comes out, and they have the same challenges as you. The distribution chain, the refrigeration. But I'm very happy to hear that in your case you don't just flare up the biogas.
No, we don't. I mean, we don't like to see that energy going waste. It all goes back into reducing the boiler fuel that would have otherwise had to be bought.
So what are the CSR initiatives that Gadre is involved in?
So the biggest CSR initiative that we have is we have started a school in Ratnagiri. We started it in 2017, 2018. We have almost about 500 kids now. It's a K to 12 school, and I mean I'm very proud of that school. We've built a very large infrastructure. We have AstroTurf, a full football field, 4 practice cricket pitches.
Do you still sponsor the Indian Soccer League?
Not the Indian Soccer League anymore, but we also have 4 indoor badminton. We have a full auditorium. So we want our motto for the school is be more. So not just the academics, but if you have sports, dramas, dance, singing, arts, elocution, everything, whatever a kid needs to be exposed to. The thought behind that being, there are bright kids everywhere in the world. What they lack is opportunity and exposure, and if we are able to provide that through our CSR activities to the kids of our city or our town, I think that's the best way to give back to society that I have grown up in. So that is, I mean, I would like you to visit it whenever you have the time.
Yes,
but it's
I would love to
it's
visit.
it's a very that has been the most satisfying venture that I have started, and I think Touchwood is doing very well. Some of our kids are right now writing standard 10th examinations for CBSE, so wish them all the very best.
Yes.
And I'm sure that even again this year, this would be a third batch passing out. We will get a very good result.
One of the things that at PAQUES we are very fond of saying is waste is nothing.
Yeah.
It's just wealth or resource by another name. So as an Indian, one thing that really pains me as we travel, and you travel as much as me or probably more, is this concept of littering that we are never able to get over in India, you know. Is there anything that as a business leader, is there anything that you think we should do? I know this is not part of the script, but this is something which I never miss on asking anyone like you who really makes an impact to society. You travel to Sri Lanka, Brazil, you know, probably places where the infrastructure is as challenged as us, but you won't find littering. It may be old, it may be broken.
So littering is it's more of a social issue than and it's about the civic habit, and it's not only littering. I think the general lack of conforming to law is there in India in many walks of life.
So you look at it as a much larger
It's
issue.
a much larger thing, and you know, I mean, it's nothing that you and I can fix. But I feel that I think the fundamental difference between our country and many of the other notable examples that you quoted, I think the amount of policing that we have is very low for the population that we have. And I think laws and implementation of laws do have a large impact on people's habits and how they behave, whether it is traffic discipline, whether it is littering, whether
the deterrence should be higher, right?
More than deterrence, there has to be policing. There has to be a state mechanism who is there to implement the law that is you know, legislated by the parliament. And I think most locations that we have, we see that you've traveled on a newly built 4-lane highway from Goa to here, but that highway you'll find every 10-15 kilometers somebody driving down the wrong side. That problem, with a good road, bad road, that problem remains because there is no highway patrol. And it is left to street fights between citizens, to one trying to tell the other one a law, and the other one saying, who the hell are you to tell me? So that
I see you feel as strongly as all the rest of us on topics like this.
Yes, absolutely, and I think there is something in the lack of policing that I would at least in the end it is up to every individual citizen to adhere to the laws and the general cleanliness around themselves. But of course, if there is if somebody is not doing that, then there needs to be a mechanism to A, catch it as early as possible, and B, to reprimand by mechanism of law, and not like an anarchic situation where the mighty some local person will come and have to
No, I just thought of asking you this because this is something that really is of recent times, something has been really bothering me, that you know, at least if some of the industry captains come together and create some kind of local, you can't change the whole place at once, but at least if you restrict it to
I mean, there are avenues,
impact zones.
There are avenues, I mean, I know a big industrialist in Pune also has deployed a lot of vacuum machines on the streets to clean the streets. Cleaning the streets is a reactive, it's not, it's the symptomatic treatment. The causative is not, somebody encouraged not to throw it on the ground. And that part is still missing. I mean, no matter how much you clean, as long as there is somebody littering, and it's a public.
In smaller zones it works, because you know, when I used to visit our factory, we have a state-of-the-art factory in Sri City in Andhra Pradesh. Initially, there would be a Lay packet here or a Pepsi bottle here, and then we called the people and we tried telling them, you have a world-class factory. This is as good as anyone that we have in Netherlands or Brazil or China. is this how you want to see? And after that, you find that even the junior intern on the shop floor is so conscious of it. If he sees a speck, he just removes it, makes sure the factory is totally lit up. So the people are willing to do that.
But those interns are supervised by somebody. Somebody is there. That's the policing part I'm saying. That is, and there is another unfortunate thing about us is that we want to keep our homes clean, but the garbage can be thrown out in the public. Public space does not belong to everybody. It belongs to nobody in India. And so, whereas in most advanced countries or developed countries, you will find that the public space, everybody feels it is their space. It's a collective space, so nobody litters there. But in India, public space is nobody's space, so you can do what you want. So those are all, those are age-old issues that, we can, if you look at our compound also, you will not see any littering there. Everything is clean, spick and span, whatever. But again, that's because there is a system of somebody going around.
So it's possible to do it in restricted spaces, it's not possible to do it outside.
Yeah, at a government level, their restricted space is the city or the state.
Yes.
So finally it will come down to that. But I think the overall problems of lack of discipline in India is down to policing. If somehow budgets are allocated for the right number, if you look at the statistics, India out of all large countries is the lowest per 10,000 population in number of police.
Yeah.
So there is same thing with the judiciary. The ratio of judiciary to population is very, very low in India, and I think that's something that somebody has to address.
But moving back to our topic on environment, you must be involved with a lot of bodies that work in the food processing industry in India. What do you see the next 5 years? What are the major developments happening with relation to environment, meeting environmental objectives, with special relevance to your industry?
So again, I think very recently Taloja Industrial Estate requested me to share your contact details for their common effluent treatment plant. So obviously there is now a very high understanding and urgency to try and resolve the effluent treatment issues, because of course there is an NGT, there are a lot of NGOs, there's a lot of monitoring going on from non-governmental organizations as to from the corporate responsibility part of it in environment. Environment laws are pretty strict, and I think every company has to deal with the state pollution control board. So there is a lot of monitoring. I think people feel that both in terms of investment, capital investment, and in running costs, it is just a non-productive asset, which I personally disagree, because we have been able to not completely monetize it, but it has not been a 100% expense, so to speak. I think
there is a return.
There is some return. I will not say that there is viability, but there is some return.
Yeah, but so also you can't fix a cost to the cost of polluting the environment.
Correct. And that's the larger picture one has to. So at what cost? That what cost answer, the cost is now much lower than what people imagine it to be. If you do a good implementation.
But you see the awareness increasing in the public sector, the government, the departments, the bureaucrats.
I'll just give you our own example in Orissa. The neighboring factories are still dealing with a lot of public backlash because of the quality of water that they are releasing. Whereas our water is, if you take it in a glass of water, it's crystal clear, and we've laid about a 8-9 kilometer pipeline. We've done hydrographic surveys. We've seen the dilution factor. We've implemented the law. We've got permissions from the CRZ from Delhi. We've done everything that the law demanded us to do, and therefore we have a very, very harmonious relationship with our environment. And that is the lack of sleepless night you can't put a number on, right? So you have to eventually value what you want to achieve. Of course, price and cost has to be affordable, it is, with all due respect, it is not a cheap equipment to put,
Yeah.
but there is a purpose for it, and until there is a massive change in technology, the current technology is there to solve the existential problem that we have today. And I think more and more, I think the first advancement will happen through all the CETP plants, because they are also under a lot of pressure from the pollution control boards to comply with the release norms. Although they are government, quasi-government, state government, the central government, whatever it is, but finally there is somebody monitoring the water, and they are all. So in my mind, going forward, this is definitely going to be a major requirement for investment to try and improve the quality of water that is released. Moreover, recycling of water also is going to be quite challenging. I mean, certain places that we also buy water from, the cost of recycling and cost of buying fresh water is more or less the same. So that also is becoming a reality, especially for industry.
You see, companies like us, we are Western technology companies, but we are fully subscribed into India. We make in India, everything, all the people are Indians, whichever departments, we are very self-sufficient here. And the heart is Indian.
Correct.
What is the advice that you will have for companies like us to get further entrenched into what are the changes that you mentioned are happening in the sustainability space? Is there anything that you would advise us to do better or do more?
I think this is only from top of my head, because I think most people are worried about the cost and the burden that the capital investment has on the overall project. I think an OPEX model rather than a CAPEX model could allow many more people to
so where we also build and operate?
Operate, and you charge per liter.
You do see a future for that model?
Yeah. I mean, for example, the Mangalore SEZ is doing that in the common effluent treatment plant. So, I mean, it is not necessary that everybody has the required skill set to kind of treat the effluent to the best of its ability. I think, and it is a biological treatment. There are living organisms there, so you need to have a certain amount of know-how and technical ability to run that plant.
So how do you yourself manage because you're fantastic. In fact, I must put it on record here that AFR which we did, that the last AFR we did, there was a lot of collaborative effort, especially fantastic. I mean, we don't expect them to know about wastewater and biology because the main business is something else.
No, but we have, like I said, we have had to create our departments and train them in order to run these plants that we buy. And that is why we were able to kind of,
No, it was a hugely cooperative effort. We really picked up a lot of learnings from them.
That's right.
And I think my colleagues from Netherlands then came down,
That's
they spent 10-15 days with your people.
That's correct.
So that is, but everybody cannot afford to do that kind of investment.
And therefore your ability to help people operate their plants also should, so you may have to kind of relook at your model about whether you want to do it as an or a BOP or some BOT rather, build, operate and then transfer at a certain date or things like that. But
so you think the market is ready to accept?
I would say that, I mean, not only the market, the law demands that this is done. And going forward, you are going to see a lot more. I mean, we have social accountability audits from Walmart and likes of such, and they see all of this. They see what our efforts in renewables is, they see what our efforts in wastewater treatment is, in air pollution, sound pollution, everything.
So one of the big challenges companies like us face, especially in India, is the availability of good talent, especially chemical engineers, environmental engineers. Do you also have the same challenges in your industry?
I mean, I also operate out of India, so the same challenges are applicable.
How do you, so we were talking about the challenges of finding talent, especially engineering talent, in brick and mortar industries like us. So how do you overcome that challenge?
I mean, with great difficulty, but I think you know, we have to bring in a lot of in-house training, and thankfully, because one of the advantages of being in a small town is that the local talent is not amiable to travel or migrate to other cities. So that way, a lot of we have, touch wood, we have a lot of people who've been with us for many years. So we try and mitigate. I think also in a factory environment, in an environment where we have to use your equipment and not, unlike in your case, you have to design an equipment.
Yeah.
When you want to use your equipment, the range of skills required to operate is very narrow. And therefore, in that narrow band, within a couple of months, you can train them well to do just that.
But what about your core production? Your
core production,
how do you manage to get the talent?
No, that we recruit from.
Are you having some kind of an industry, academia cooperation, or?
Not really, but we do get our food technologists and quality people from some of the best food technology colleges. We've gained a good reputation over the years, so we have a lot of interns who come and spend their 6 months of their course with us. So we get a chance to kind of see them. They get a chance to work with us and understand what we do. And there's a lot of interest because thankfully we are still one of the only companies who are making these kind of products for the US and other markets. So they get to work with a food technology company per se, because there's a lot of food technology. The surimi crab sticks is a completely manufactured product. There is a different base, there are different flavors, different textures, colors,
it's
everything.
More art.
It's more art and science. So the food technology can actually use that technology, whatever they've learned in the work. So I mean, it is obviously a challenge. I think the challenge is going to be compounded by many more industries starting, because everybody wants ready talent. So a lot of poaching will happen, and so we are also now planning to kind of have a much larger bench strength on this.
Okay, so one of the things that really everybody talks of now is digitization, the impact of artificial intelligence and all that. What is your perspective from your industry? For instance, if I talk about us, we are really going to launch a lot of things where like a factory manager sitting in his cabin can monitor over an app the upset that's going to come to his plant probably 2 days later. That's a kind of cutting edge work that is being done. And yes, we'll come back to you for pilot. If you remember how we have started this by piloting the AFR with you initially, and then from piloting we moved to the full scale.
Yes.
We'll come back to you similarly for these kind of developments that are
most
happening.
welcome.
So from that angle, I'm trying to understand what is the impact or what is the importance given to these kind of developments in the.
See, right now, adaptation of IoT and therefore the analytics is not very high in our industry. It is still a food product. A lot of quality tests based on eating the product and deciding whether it is come out the way it should have or not. So there is not a lot of technology integration in the manufacturing process. So I would say, but there is of course a lot of new AI based models which come for forecast demanding on the market side of things. But we are right now working very closely with some of the supermarkets who are doing a direct interface to EDI and things, which is quite an old technology anyway. But that's so. Long story short, I don't think there is a huge amount of adaptation so far.
Not as much at least as in our kind of industries.
Yeah, because yours is a process control industry. You already have a lot of transducers and IoT elements in your existing thing with the PLC and all. So analytics becomes a nice layer to put on top. We don't have that base layer of technology in our system. So I think.
So let me come back to you with the last question, personal question. Had you not entered the family business and done this, what else would you have done?
I have no idea, because I was fully committed to come back and join the business. I got the opportunity to start something, this crabstick business completely by myself, which allowed me to really use all my abilities and skill to develop this business.
No, your journey has been so inspirational that you took what your father had built and you couldn't think of doing anything else, and
Yes.
you invested everything. Do you see the same kind of buy-in from the next generation? That was my question.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still too early. They are still completing their education, so time will tell. But from my perspective, I want anybody who works within the company to have an absolute burning desire to only work here and nowhere else. I don't want a situation where the company becomes somebody's second choice. Because that is not
very well
good,
said, very well
not good for the company's health.
Yeah.
And I am responsible for the careers of almost now 3,500-4,000 people. So every decision I take has to be taken from that perspective in mind. So let's hope that the company keeps gaining good talent, whether from within the family or outside. And most important thing is to have the company's future secured through good talent.
No, it was really such a pleasure doing this podcast. I am so new to this format. I really enjoyed this chat with you. How is the tennis going?
Tennis is not going too well. My knees are bad, but I'm doing very well with golf. So that's a plus.
So high time I took that,
Yes.
switched over from tennis.
Yes, absolutely. I'll advise you very strongly.
Good to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.